Dr. Mark Addix, who is a Super Bowl winning orthopedic surgeon with a medical degree from Harvard. He believes it to be a grade 1 PCL injury.
I don't know. I think their problems on offense run pretty deep. I don't have a lot of optimism for anything here with Lamar Jackson out.
Do you think as the season has worn on, has Lamar strengthened, weakened, or stayed the same in terms of his bargaining power with his contract?
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
The other big quarterback injury news, obviously, was Lamar Jackson going down with Dr. Mark Addix, who is a Super Bowl winning orthopedic surgeon with a medical degree from Harvard. I think he's the only person in existence that has had all those credentials. Yeah, I know, right? Super Bowl winning offensive lineman with the Washington, formerly known as the Redskins. But yeah, he says he believes it to be a grade 1 PCL injury. And Harbaugh kind of sort of confirmed those thoughts, saying that he's, basically considered week to week, but probably won't play this week. Not season ending. That was he stressed that. Harbaugh stressed that it's not season ending there for Lamar Jackson. Okay, so now Tyler Huntley came in, and the offense absolutely stunk up the joint, man. I mean, it was just brutally bad. It was such a painful watch between these two teams, just brutal. Mustered 10 points that Baltimore did, and the only touchdown of the game came on this long 90-yard drive to basically win the game at the very, very end. And the Broncos were they were just gassed. It was such a painful watch, man. But anyways, Baltimore gets it done. They win the game. The Broncos lose another close game, as they are apt to do, although I guess you could say the Baltimore Ravens are also apt to lose close games too. But what I thought, Matt, when I saw this go down, Lamar Jackson goes down with injury, I think what struck out to me was how poorly constructed Baltimore, I thought, was exposed by how poorly constructed their offense was. They have Mark Andrews and a bunch of part-time, spare parts at receiver and at running back. It's not just the receiving core that's not great. It's, again, they're trying to get by with these guys coming off of major injuries. It's such a poorly constructed offense, man. It's shocking.
Yes. A lot there. You mentioned that when Tyler Huntley came in, the offense stunk up the joint. The offense has kind of been stinking up the joint all year long. Lamar Jackson has 8 total touchdowns since week 4. Sure. Since Rashad Bateman's gone down, they've had spare parts is a nice way to put it at wide receiver. They're rolling out DeMarcus Robinson, who couldn't make the Raiders roster. DeMarcus Robinson, who was nobody's missing him in Kansas City. Devin Duvernay is a bit player. Deshaun Jackson, they're rolling out Deshaun Jackson. This year it's 2022. I don't think that works out. And Mark Andrews, I made this joke with Dalton Del Don over on the Yahoo podcast that Mark Andrews is kind of like the Deontay Johnson of tight ends, in that Deontay Johnson, good player. Mark Andrews, obviously, I think he's a better player than Deontay Johnson, but they're both they've got to be the most boneheaded play prone players at their position. Deontay especially, my God, I'm a Deontay Johnson fan, but bro, run forward, run towards the end zone. Come on. Come on. Obviously the team was banking on Rashad Bateman, not just making a leap, which I think he was going to make, but also staying healthy. And
Sure.
when that didn't happen, they were completely screwed at wide receiver. Even Devin Duvernay, again, nice player, but shouldn't be your plan at wide receiver too. Shouldn't be, and then your backup plan should not be DeMarcus Robinson when you're in this window with Lamar Jackson. And the problems, I think, go to the root of the offense too. Greg Roman, by the way, have you ever seen a fan base that's more yeah, Greg, good luck at that Stanford interview. Hope you get it. This happens with Greg Roman's offenses all the time, that they're so well designed from a rushing game perspective, which I think would make him a great college head coach. But the passing game stuff always goes to rot the longer that you have him as the offensive play caller there. So I don't know. I think their problems on offense run pretty deep. I don't have a lot of optimism for anything here with Lamar Jackson out.
No, yeah, and again, it's just kind of like what is Baltimore doing? What was their plan coming in? I mean, let's say you like Isaiah Likely in the draft. Okay, I mean, fine, but you need another tight end. You really need another tight end. I mean, is this what we're doing? I mean, I know it's Baltimore, and that's the joke that they draft tight ends and they do it well. I get it, but come on, let's draft some receivers here. Let's get some free agency, wide receivers in the door. If they addressed wide receiver and running back too, by the way, because again, their top two guys are coming off of major knee injuries, dude. Like,
right.
Again, I go back to that too. It's like, that's your plan, that you're hoping that these two guys coming off of major knee injuries are going to be good to go at the running back position, but no, come on, man.
Yeah, no.
That's not a great plan, So they didn't draft, or I guess they took a flyer on some late round dudes. But like, bottom line is, they didn't bring in a lot of talent on the offensive side of the football. And I just think, again, Lamar Jackson goes down. Hey, listen, you talk about, okay, he's got 8 touchdowns since week 4, and that's fine. They were at least moving the football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Against Denver, they didn't do squat, man. It was,
right.
Golly, it was bad.
Denver's a great defense. Denver is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
I think they've got a great pass defense, Matt. I think you can run on them. They've been shown that you can run on this football team. So they're a great defense. I'm not taking anything away from Denver, okay? But at the end of the day, it's not like they can't be had. They've been had. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I just thought that Baltimore got exposed in terms of lack of depth, and their offseason game plan coming in on the offensive side of the football was basically, Lamar's going to carry us, and that's the game plan. Coming into the season, obviously, as we know, Lamar's in a contract year. As he goes down with injury, and it's not supposed to be season-ending, but it's also not like a sprained ankle. It's a knee injury here. Do you think, as the season has worn on, has Lamar strengthened, weakened, or stayed the same in terms of his bargaining power with his contract?
That's a good question. I do think that Tyler Huntley playing will sort of be a referendum on that. And I'm not 100% sure, this is how these narratives get put out there. Like I think Tyler Huntley's a pretty good backup quarterback. And like, I think the Ravens are smart to like have a guy, okay, like Lamar goes down, we can have a guy still that like, we don't have to, like, remember when they went from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson the one year when Flacco, it's like, wow, that's it. Then they have to drastically shift the offense in the middle of the year. You don't have to do that with Tyler Huntley. The problem though, with a lot of the, because I know that there's fantasy folks out there like, oh, look at what Tyler Huntley did last year. Like, look what happened. Well, they had real wide receivers last year. They had Rashad Bateman. They had Hollywood Brown, and they even had Sammy Watkins. As much as I give Sammy Watkins plenty of deserved crap, like last year, Sammy Watkins was a real NFL receiver. At least, they don't have a lot of those going around there. I think Lamar's case for why he should be on a quarterback extension, like the type that he's just, it's hard to know what Lamar wants, right? Like if he wants, I think most people don't, like most owners don't want to go down the fully Deshaun Watson guaranteed rabbit hole and like want to say like, oh, that was an exception. But I think guys like Lamar want that to be the rule. So putting all that aside, but I think he's proved his case for why he's a great player, because they have moved the ball on this complete dumpster fire of an offense. And like the only thing that's been good about the Ravens offense has been Lamar this year. And Lamar, statistically, at least, has not been very good.
It's really interesting because, I was talking about this on my DirecTV show, and I was really in the minority. Look, at the end of the day, when I go look at Lamar Jackson's situation, if Dak Prescott can suffer the injury that he suffered and basically get the deal that he got, I just, at that point, it's like, I don't think injuries even matter. Whatever he was worth before the season started, he's worth exactly the same. I don't think he's strengthened his position. I think he could have strengthened his position if his team had stayed healthy. Dude was absolutely on fire the first couple of weeks of the season before Rashad Bateman goes down, before Mark Andrews gets banged up with some, minor nicks and bruises here too. So no, he could have had a real special season had the plan stayed, going in the right direction. Everyone had stayed healthy, but that's not the case. And now, again, everything that's gone wrong, everything that could have gone wrong, Matt, has gone wrong. I think, for Baltimore, right? Like, all the injuries have piled up. Lamar now gets banged up. And they are still they're still in first place of their division.
Yeah, they're still probably going to win the AFC
crazy.
North. I mean, I think they're a great organization. Obviously John Harbaugh, I think, is a great coach, and they've got a good culture there. I do think they need to look at themselves in the mirror a little bit from an offensive standpoint. Like, obviously they need to figure things out with Lamar. I think at this point it looks like they'll franchise tag him. And then, though, I think they have to have a conversation about what do we want to be on offense, because I do buy into the narrative that, like, receivers, it's not that they don't want to play with Lamar, but they don't want to play on this team, like veteran guys, because they know they run so much. They know their run game, their pass game concepts are so bad. I mean, even like a guy like Hollywood Brown requested didn't he say requested a trade like prior to last season? Like, he's been on that. He was on that team for like a couple of years. It's like, I got to get out of here, man. So I buy into that narrative. So, and I think they've got to do something to make playing with Lamar Jackson, who I think guys would want to play with. They've got to make it a more appealing situation so that, like, they don't have just Rashad Bateman and a bunch of goofballs next year.
Or draft. I mean, or just go heavy into the draft, man, and just draft these guys. You know, that you could do that too. I mean,
but that's the thing. They've spent a first round pick at wide receiver in like two recent, like in 2019 and 2021. Like, there's only so much you can do. And I think both those guys, you know, obviously there were injuries. There were even injuries with Marquise Brown. Like, because there always seem to be damn injuries with the Ravens are up there with like the 49ers or the Chargers in terms of like snake bitten teams. But
I know
like, they've spent draft capital at that position. There's only so much you can't just hammer wide receiver at every single pick. But it's like, yeah, you get to the point where Marquise Brown is, you know, he's thinking about contract extension. He's like, nope, get me out of here. Like, ship me to damn Arizona of all teams.
Right, exactly. No, I mean, listen, man, like, you say that, but then, like, look at what the Packers did. Like, you know, you could take a guy early and take a couple guys late and then see what you got, you know?
That's true.
And I don't think the Ravens have done that. And by the way, they're in a really weird spot right now because, dude, their defense is aging quickly. You know, these guys are going to be aged out real fast. I think their window's a year or 2 years at most. Their offense might be 3 years away. Unfortunately, dude, their defense is going to be toast in 3 years. You know what I mean? So, boy, they're in a real precarious spot right now. Are the Baltimore Ravens. But as you mentioned, man, great culture there in Baltimore. Harbaugh, obviously one of the best coaches in the NFL, in NFL history, and has really done a great job. And believe it or not, they've blown all these games, and man, they're still 8-4, and here they are, man, atop their division. So certainly a hat tip to Harbaugh and company there in Baltimore.